Superchick is a 1973 sex comedy that tries to update an old comedic setup with a women's lib twist. Directed by Ed Forsyth and written by Gary Crutcher, Superchick stars Joyce Jillson, Louis Quinn, and Tony Young, with a special appearance by John Carradine. Somewhere over America's skies, Tara B. True is a dedicated, unassuming stewardess who spends most of her week in the air. When she's back on Earth, she lets down her hair as the Superchick, and she's got a man in every terminus. There's Ernest in New York, the germophobic surgeon that stimulates her mind, Johnny in Miami, the hunky-lunky gigolo that stimulates her loins, and Davy in L.A., the rising young rock star that stimulates her sense of adventure. Which man will she settle down with? Will she settle down? Can she settle down? And what are those gangsters doing here? Sex can be funny and has been a source of amusement for audiences for centuries. Seemingly, the bawdier, the more universal, if not necessarily more funny, but it doesn't stop artists from trying. In 1953, Alec Guinness starred in The Captain's Paradise, playing a ferryboat captain with a different wife at each end of his route. It was a decently reviewed film. The script was even nominated for an Academy Award. Producer John Burroughs also enjoyed the film and sold Crown International Pictures on a similar idea, switching the male boat captain with a female flight attendant. The project was announced to the trades as Supergirl until attorneys from Warner Brothers got involved, so Crown changed the title to Superchick. Superchick is not a superhero film, although in one scene she does face off against a biker gang while dressed like Black Canary from the Justice League. But she's not about the battle for truth and justice or equality of the sexes. She's just a girl trying to have fun and not get tied down into being somebody. That might have been the filmmaker's idea of a modern woman, empowered by her sexuality and beauty, determining who she has sex with and when. But it's not really what the women's liberation movement was about in the 70s. Women weren't fighting for their rights to have friends with benefits. They wanted the ability to determine their own fate at work, at home, in the court, and be as likely to succeed as anybody else in the same position. So there's not a lot of lessons in feminism in Superchick, and yeah, it fails the Bechdel test. Back to the movie as a movie. There's not a lot of plot here. In the final third, some gangsters try to pull Tara into a mid-air heist, but this movie is about Superchick getting the upper hand over whatever man's in front of her, using her charms, her wits, and the occasional judo flip that her stunt double pulls off. Yeah, the seams really show in this production. Of course, there's about 9 minutes of R-rated nudity sprinkled throughout the 94-minute film, although there's not as much of Miss Superchick to see as the producers intended. Shortly after completing her first nude scene, Joyce Jillson began demanding extra pay for the remaining nude scenes. The production responded by hiring a body double, only to have that actress voice her own protests about the situation. Other ladies that graced the screen include Russ Meyer discovery Ushi DeGuard, pinup girl Mary Gavin, aka Candy Samples, and screen queen Flo Lawrence. Tony Young provides the beefcake. He was a regular presence on 60s and 70s television and starred in a 1961 Western for CBS called The Gunslinger. Thomas Reardon played the surgeon, not to be confused with the neuroscientists that work on the creation of Microsoft Explorer browser. This Thomas Reardon would become Environmental Health Director for Pasadena, California during the 1980s. By default, the funniest performance in the film has to be from John Carradine, starting around minute 74, when Superchick answers a personal ad that leads to his door. His character may be odder than anybody else in the film, and his commitment to the performance takes it to another level. Don't worry, he doesn't get naked. The other element that might get a chuckle is the Superchick theme song that blasts so many times throughout the film and makes every montage feel like a cigarette TV ad. Altogether, Superchick is closer to cute than funny. There aren't any comedians in the cast, and there's not a lot of punchlines in the script. Most of the comedy is of the bait-and-switch variety, the scenes leading up to one conclusion, only to take it somewhere else. It's the film's primary move, and once you get familiar with it, you can see it coming a mile away. At any rate, Superchick accomplished what Crown set out to do, creating another hit for the company as they were transitioning to the growing market of grindhouses, former burlesque halls that could replace their dancers with skin flicks that could run all night and all day in some theaters. It was also a victory for Merrimark Productions, as in Marilyn and Mark Tenser, who were beginning to assume more responsibilities at Crown. Crown would enter the 70s aiming at the next generation of moviegoers by making movies too hot for television, but not too hot for general theaters. 1973 was a big year for Jilson as well, but not because of Superchick. 1973 was the year she started writing a horoscope column that would eventually get carried in over 200 papers across the U.S. and launch her most successful career. She would later become astrologer for 20th Century Fox and purportedly the Reagan administration. Superchick is a cheap, slight sex comedy of the wink-wink, nudge-nudge variety. Don't frustrate yourself searching for anything else in the film. But if you enjoyed the Benny Hill Show for the jokes, too, you might find yourself up for Superchick.